Hey guys, this is Ben with Tribal Edge and the Primal Lab, and I'm gonna do a little spontaneous, or I'm doing a little spontaneous class here. I'm just calling the Spring Reset. This was motivated by my need to kind of break out of hibernation this winter and get into some healthy patterns and get ready for spring and summer and kind of change with the seasons. And I'm also starting up or kind of reawakening our Primal Lab training, which is on Wednesdays out at our land. And so this is has to do with that. So I'm going to kind of do this little reset through that perspective of the Primal Lab and share a little bit about what that means too. So, um, so the Primal Lab is a experience we've again had for about 10 years now, I think. And it started out as we just called it dirt time. It was a place to get practice and the basic skills of living with the earth and nature connection, primal skills, and also the healing skills. And I kind of over time let those three perspectives or archetypes kind of be more distinct. So I focus in the Primal Lab. I've isolated it into three, technically four with Hero Lab, but three different focuses. One is called Body Lab, which is focusing on awareness, conditioning, movement, and kind of your physical wildness. And then Earth Lab, which is focusing on tracking and survival skills and living with the earth. And then Soul Lab, which is trying to capture basically the deeper and very valuable, important to us, meaningful, and maybe mysterious aspects of our being that have to do with caretaking, healing, and deeper states. Um, so yeah, that's just kind of an outline of Primal Lab. Right now, I'm combining them all together, and they're going to be, and I'm calling it Wild Wednesday. So it's going to be just me once a week at our land on Wednesdays, and I'm gonna. It's basically from 10:30 to it's all day, 10:30 to 4:30 or 4 o'clock. It's on my website, but during that time, at some point in the afternoon, I'm looking at the 2 o'clock to or the 2:30 to 3 window. I'm going to be doing a video recording for our Primal Live online archive. And I may even be able to do them live out of the land, which is the new thing because we haven't had the means to do that in the past. So that's exciting. So you could potentially participate in the Primal Lab from wherever you are, which would be fun. So, well, let's start with for the spring reset idea. Um, you know, looking at through these lenses of your body, your connection to the earth, and your soul or your deeper self. Let's look at some of these simple practices or things that we can do to grow in those areas or to reawaken. So I'm going to start with the body lab, and I'm really focusing on this with some systemic, simple health practices or concepts that are inspiring to me right now because I feel a little heavy, like I've gained a little bit of um, weight over the last few years, and it feels like I'm also approaching the big 50, and so there's like this midlife stage thing going on. But there's also just been more or less activity for me overall, I'd say, and just I think the kind of what I want to address here is some the kind of weight that you might accumulate that's based on basically it's stress weight. So part of it was for me, I gained weight during my treatment for Lyme's disease, that the stress on my body there, plus the pain with movement and the limitations. It didn't really, kind of took me out of the crazy workout routines. But so there's uh there's things here that'll be useful if you want to, drop a little weight. And I'm not talking about any kind of extreme, dieting or weight loss like that, but just finding your body's natural set point for weight and aligning with your metabolic and hormonal um, system. So that's really what I'm looking at is that kind of health. And that's just health. That's just good for any kind of um, health. It doesn't have to be for weight loss. But one of the things that happens is if you happen to be holding on to some stress weight or survival weight, then your body can naturally let that go once you are moving out of these stress zones and you align with your metabolic and hormonal, uh, bring those things back into balance. So this is kind of a systemic approach to weight loss. Um, this isn't dieting. In fact, food has a role, of course, but it's not the main thing. The main thing, if we started with to really look at this, is your sleep pattern. That's where we're going to start. So I'm using one of the things I do is I'm a holistic lifestyle coach through Paul Chek, level 1 anyway. And one of the things I really value about his program is the simplicity of his 4 doctors approach, he calls it. And he's referring to basically the 4 doctors of recovery, nutrition, movement, and state, or he called it Dr. Happy. So we can look at those four things as ways to um, basically address any health issue or fitness issue if that's your goal. But that's where it starts, is at these super simple fundamentals that are essentially no cost to you and don't require a lot of equipment or expense or specialists or anything. So the first one I'm going to start with is basically Dr. Recovery or Dr. Sleep. And so um, for aligning with your hormonal and metabolic optimal um, your system's optimal functioning, it's ideal to get your sleep patterns aligned with the biorhythms of this place you live. And so the circadian rhythms, the cycles of light, basically. So, being organic living creatures, we are enmeshed within an environment that we are deeply connected to, and that we are reading, um, getting information from, and responding to, and participating with. So, when we stay up too late because we have artificial light or we're working on projects and stuff, which is something I've been doing, we can kind of get out of whack. So basically, the rule of thumb is, in your time zone, focusing on getting to bed by 10, getting to sleep by 10 or 10:30 is optimal. And then that lets you, if you get about 8 hours sleep, lets you get up around between 6 and 7, which is again optimal on the other end. So not only does this get you into alignment with your recovery cycles during sleep, it's also going to set you up for a good start in the morning, where your cortisol will be at peak between 6 and 9 a.m. And that's the perfect time to start eating. So you want to have a big breakfast to encourage your metabolism to, get working. Let it know that there is food around. You're not going to be, starving and hunting. You're going to be eating. And so your body can relax, and you can actually not store nutrients as fat. So this is one of the simple yet important relationships between sleep and food is this timing issue. So the first step is basically to get to bed by 10 to 10:30, and then to have breakfast within an hour or so of waking up, between 6 and 9 a.m. And this is ideally a breakfast that has some protein in it, but it's maybe we'll make that another point. So look how that's your recovery focus. Just getting to bed at 10:30 and getting up and getting food in you, not immediately. Some people aren't hungry in the first thing in the morning, but you can actually train yourself to live out of sync with your natural habits. And so stuff could feel unusual or not good at first, but then with a little practice, you'll find that it actually feels better than you thought. So um, this protocol I'm talking about here is also includes assumes that you're eating high quality food and um, you are ideally eating what's within what's called your primal metabolic type. As far as that's politics terminology. So, your metabolic type is a proportion of macronutrients, carbs, fats, proteins that is ideal for your metabolic type. So there's three main metabolic types. One is more protein and fat heavy focused with low carb. One is kind of higher carb focused with lower fats and proteins. And then there's one that's kind of down the middle, um, called variable. So if you're interested in pursuing that, I just spit on my keyboard. If you're interested in learning more about that, I can coach you with that. There's actually a form you can get. There's a simple kind of assessment you can do yourself, self-assessment, but there's also much deeper assessments that do cost money, but they get very precise and help you kind of figure out your ideal relationship between carbs, proteins, and fats for your body. And so everyone's a little different. And when you eat when these are harmonized, when you find the right blend in proportion per meal, per feeding, then your body relaxes and goes into a very smooth metabolic mode where you feel warm, comfortable, and energized after eating as you should, instead of bloated, tired, and drained and full and uncomfortable. So that's one of the cues that you're in the right zone. For me, I'm a variable type. I tend to be, it's pretty close to carb and protein, are pretty almost 50-50. But that also means for me, not refined carbs, so not grains and that kind of stuff. It's like my ultimate meal is like beef and broccoli. If I can have that in a certain proportion, I just it's amazing. Even with just beef and broccoli, if I change the proportions, I'll feel better or worse. Um, so it's fun to experiment with and really puts your body into, again, a low stress mode, which is where you start to let go of weight. So the other thing is we're trying to ramp up the metabolism by eating. So ironically, you might think, no, don't eat because I'm trying to lose weight. But really what that does is it puts your body into a stress mode. It's think of your ancient body, it's wondering if you're going to have to starve for a while. And so it's going to hold on to all the fat it can. Whereas if you just simply keep a little bit of food going, so have that larger meal in the morning just to jumpstart your metabolism, and then to have smaller meals throughout the snacks and stuff, and just keep from being really hungry. So that's the nice thing about this process is you don't have to starve. So you're going to keep feeding yourself with good food and not too much. Um, Within a feeding window, we still do the 8 hour. You can do if you're playing around with intermittent fasting or something, you can eat within your food window. So it might be like 8 to 5 or something like that. But and then fasting the rest of the time. But when you're eating, not restricting calories, like as long as you're eating quality and good source food in your metabolic type, it's like eat when you're hungry. You can eat the whole time, the whole time. So that's maybe different. That's something I like from this pattern, especially being kind of a food focused person. Um, all right, let's see. Yeah, so eating high quality food, eating within the 8 hour time frame is kind of the basic model of intermittent fasting. It's like the simple one. No, you don't have to do extreme fast or anything. But avoid eating later than 8 p.m. So if you do start later in the day, see if you can stop eating by at least a couple hours before you go to bed, because you want your body not to be working on digestion while sleeping. Um, Actually, yeah, on that, digestion is a lot of work for your body, and that takes between 50 to 70% of your calories alone. Is not just digestion, but I think it's a third for digestion, but like 50 to 70% is just your baseline metabolic requirements just to be alive. It's going to take 50 to 70% of the calories you consume. So, your output in terms of trying to burn fat through output, that's on top of this basic fire that's burning away called your metabolism. And if you just support that so that it can burn naturally, you will eventually get back to your genetic set point for body weight, which if your genetic set point isn't your ideal, if you would like, to shift that, then that's another process that you may need some coaching with to actually uh, change your genetic shape. But for most people, that's where you're going to be healthy, is right at that genetic set point for your metabolism. Okay, so another point is to drink water, drink lots of water and flush out your system, keep detoxifying your system, and actually just pure water, like water, not tea and juice and all these other things. So you can drink those things, but just make sure you also drink water. A nice little simple uh, goal for water here is to drink half your body weight in ounces per day. So whatever you weigh, divide that number in half, and that's how many ounces of water is your target. It's a simple one. Another point we're moving into from, I kind of jumped from Dr. Rest or Dr. Recovery to Dr. Diet. But let's go to Dr. Movement. Move your body. Just do a little more movement than you are if you want to let go of some weight. So keep these other concepts going, but also move your body a little bit more. Maybe go on a little bit longer walks. Work on some physical projects. You don't have to hit the gym hard or anything. I mean, you can, but don't do it. Break into it, be smart about it. But basically, if you're going for a walk, maybe you want to make it a little more challenging. You can make it longer, you can make it faster. You could put on a backpack and carry a little bit of weight or something. Just challenge yourself a little more with movement. I'm talking about, I'm keeping this very minimal and simple, by the way. And one thing you may want to do that's good for you just in general, this is from Andrew Huberman, which is a great resource if you haven't found him, the Huberman podcast. Doing an all-out push for 60 to 90 seconds, just a couple times a week, is really beneficial for you cardiovascularly and just overall health and performance. So that's not much, like 60 to 90 seconds a couple times a week. I think we can all do that. All out means, going as hard as you think you can and doing that safely. I do it mostly sprinting on my bike for up this hill for, a minute and a half, a couple times a week. And that's like my main push right now. Other than that, yeah, get outside and just do some simple movements. Another concept that's kind of for metabolic and hormonal health is also from Andrew Huberman. That's where I found it anyway. It's getting light in your eyes within 60 minutes of waking up. So, not just screens and stuff, but actually getting outside and getting some light, even if it's not sunny, just the day into your eyes for 10 minutes, which corresponds really nicely with some of our other practices. So I think that's it for the simple weight loss or letting go of hibernation chub. So just again, keep it simple. Get to bed by 10:30 and sleep by 10:30 and wake up trying to eat within the 6 to 9 a.m. window because your cortisol is peaked and your metabolism is ready to go. Eat throughout the day. Don't starve yourself. Don't count calories. Have maybe slightly smaller meals, but more spaced. And have your smallest meal, I didn't say this, in the evening. And stop eating by 8 o'clock at night, and or 2 hours before you go to bed. Trying to eat within the 8-hour window. Drink half of your body weight in ounces of water, and move your body a little bit more. You may need to decide if it's a work in day or a workout day. Working out is kind of the classic going to the gym kind of stuff. Working in is the gentler stuff that maybe your body needs if you're recovering from something or um, you know, dealing with pain and fatigue. And eating high quality food, ideally within your metabolic type. If you want to, if you want to find out more about that, you can contact me. And getting light within your in your eyes within an hour of waking up, like 10 minutes of light outside, and pushing all out for 60 to 90 seconds a couple times a week. Um, yeah, I think that's it. So there's also cold water and sauna, things that will help energize you, detox you. There's tons of things. So I'm just going to draw the line there for now. So that's going to be some of my patterns that I'm working on. Be curious how it goes for you. And I think, I've got two more sections, Earth Lab and Soul Lab. But I'm going to, I think, break these up into two more videos because that was longer than I thought. And hopefully that was helpful. And, I'm going to post this on Facebook, Phil, and the Primal Lab group. Feel free to add your comments. Let me know what you're doing that's working. And again, next time, if you're interested in jumping on this with me, you're welcome to. You can bring questions and stuff in these little meetings. I'm just doing these Primal Lab videos for Mondays this spring. Not every Monday, maybe just a few of them, but probably two more at least. So yeah. Anyway, hope that helps. Try on any of those things, some of those things, one of those things. And also remember that, I'm not a doctor or anything. You don't have to do any of this. Ben did not tell you to eat in some extreme weird way. Do the stuff with care, listen to your body. That's number one. So that's it. I hope we see you on another Primal Lab session. And thank you for playing. Have a great day and keep going.